Welcome back to 34, the podcast about intimacy, healing, and human connection beyond performance. Today's guest is someone who works right where modern love often breaks down, in the dating area. Carrie Elle is a UK-based dating coach who's worked with hundreds of men and women around attraction, confidence, and connection. What makes Carrie's work stand out is her honest, compassionate approach. She sees not just the outer dynamics of dating, but the inner fears and emotional patterns that shape how people relate. Carrie, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
Do you want to add something more about yourself?
Oh, well, I think that was a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. Well, I really appreciate your words. I feel very passionately about men, supporting men. I work with so many beautiful men, and they're really good men, and they need just a little bit of help in this area, something that they struggle with, really communicating with women and understanding women's needs, and also understanding what it is to be masculine in a modern world. And it's something that's very confusing, a real challenge for men, and I feel privileged to work with them.
Beautiful. So, I mean, obviously, you've been working closely with men in general, and what do you feel are some of the biggest insecurities you see in men in today's world, particularly when it comes to dating and sex and these things?
Yeah. Oh, well, as I say, I see a lot of very beautiful, capable, intelligent men walking around really with quiet wounds. Often nobody else really sees, and no one's really ever asked them how they feel about intimacy. Most of them have learned about dating and sex in a way that is performative. It's about what to do and what to say and sort of how to impress a woman, and not how to be, not how to show how they feel, and not how to show up as a man with presence. And this is a word that comes up a lot, is how to be present as a man. So I mean, I see a lot of insecurities. Number one is probably a deep fear of rejection, and it's not just romantically, but also actually being rejected as a man. There's a lot of confusion about how to express desire without being too much or being creepy, and that's another word that comes up a lot. Men are very worried about being creepy, which has stemmed a lot from the Me Too era. Has done a lot of damage. There's also a lack of confidence around being emotionally being able to express yourself emotionally, and a lack of confidence in how to lead intimacy. And women want leadership, we want a leader, but men are confused about how to offer that. And then just a fear that they're not sexually adequate, they're not desirable. I mean, there's a lot of very, very deep wounds there, and I feel quite emotional talking about it. Actually, it's very difficult for men.
Because what I see is a lot of men are really confused today, like you say, right? And I think a lot of them try to be like the nice guy, be very respectful and even generous with women.
Absolutely.
At the same time, that doesn't really spark attraction for the women. Why do you think that is?
I agree. I completely agree. I mean, they're trying to be really good men, but they kind of lost a connection with their erotic truth, if that makes sense. There's the sort of they feel they've got to perform instead of actually simply be who they are. I don't mean sort of passive at all. I mean actually just being really fully rooted in who they are. And when I say truth, I mean they're sort of hiding actually their real desires. Being nice isn't actually being honest about what they really, really want. Yeah.
So what do you think most women actually want from men? And this means both emotionally, sexually, and energetically from a man.
Women, we're very confusing. We're very difficult to read. We want to feel like we're being met, but not fixed. We don't want to be managed. We want to be actually met somewhere where the man's not going to disappear. He's not going to shut down. He's not going to try and solve us like a puzzle. We want to feel, as I say, your presence, sharing our world. We want to sexually. We want to be desired. Obviously, not just in performance, or we want to, as I say, really feel your presence, feel your attention, feel an undiluted you, and that's more erotic than any performance or trick or move, or it's a real presence we want to feel of you, and we want more. Sorry,
I've heard that from a lot of women and also from guys, that they are actually going very quickly into a fix mode whenever there's a question or a concern from a woman, even in a relationship. And the guy often just wants to fix it, basically, right? I think that's...
Yes. And I think this is what they're confused, because it's logical, isn't it? It's a logical thing to do. And we are not logical creatures. We're emotional creatures. We're all about feelings, and we're not about logic.
And this is really where I feel like, what I've seen in the interviews I've had with women is really that they're looking for, they don't need a man to fix them or hold, or actually just financially support them, even in today's world. They actually just want a man to emotionally hold them in one way.
Exactly. It's beautifully said. Yeah, beautifully said. It's we like direction sometimes. We don't want to be controlled. We want a man who knows himself and knows how to lead, but without it's not a forceful leadership. It's having a space for both the fire and the sort of softness of femininity, being able to be attuned and sexually present, really, to be able to accommodate all the things about femininity. There's a lot to ask, but being in the moment is so vital. I think it's vital in everything in life, but I think in intimacy, it's so vital to be absolutely in the moment.
So there's a lot of talk today about both masculine and feminine energy, emotional safety, and everybody's talking about the alpha behavior, if you will, from a male.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all of that, if you would?
Well, again, I think it's a fascinating conversation, because in the modern world, the dynamics have been changing quite a lot. Women are sometimes slipping into their masculine energy too much, and men are left not knowing where their masculinity is. So we've lost a bit of nuance with this. I mean, for me, I think true masculine energy is not about that sort of chest beating alpha male dominant man. That's not for me what true masculinity is. That it's more about stability, sort of a depth of direction and actually responsibility, not posturing and not showing off, not just being a solid, calm, a man who knows himself is the strongest way to be masculine. And the feminine energy, I think, is often misunderstood as sort of more of a weakness. A lot of women feel it's a weakness or it's a chaos, but feminine energy to me is a life force. We're emotional, radiant in our femininity when we're really in it, and actually very powerful in that feminine energy. And I wish more than anything that we could start to enjoy each other's space and allow each other to be in that role. Because when a man is really, really present and solid and true to himself, and a woman is able to be all those feminine qualities that are so beautiful, the two work in harmony beautifully. That's how we've been designed.
It's a beautiful way to put it. So, in your experience, though, what actually makes a woman feel really safe and also then turned on at the same time?
This is really important, actually, because safety and feeling turned on are actually not opposites. They're actually requirements of each other. They're absolutely essential. I mean, I think that a woman can't really fully open up sexually if she doesn't trust you emotionally. And it doesn't, safety, when I say safety, I don't think of it as a bland word. It's actually very powerful. It's depth and it's certainty. And so what makes a woman feel safe and turned on is when you can stay with her through emotional intensity, when you don't flinch and don't shut down, and you can bring your own desire without any neediness. And or you can, as a man, you can set your boundaries in quite a grounded way. You're not controlling her, but you honour your own boundaries as a man. She knows where she is with you, and your body language, your tone, your attention, everything is really attuned to her. I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of confusion, I think, sometimes, that things are weak or I think we look at some of these words and think, that safety doesn't sound like a very sexy word, but it is actually essential to make a woman feel safe. And as I say, then she can really, really open up with you.
Yeah, I mean, because what I've seen with a lot of guys and also hearing from a lot of these women is that, as you mentioned here in the beginning, that it's much more about this performance culture in one way, that a guy needs to perform.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they also get a lot of influences from pornography today, and I think that's sort of where a lot of their mind is at, if you will.
Yes.
And then it becomes much more performance about what it looks like in a movie, for example, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's visually you want that for a movie, but actually, reality is very different, isn't it? Very different. Yeah, I think the whole word performance. Stop trying to perform, to act confident, because a real confidence isn't a performance. It's a very natural kind of byproduct of all the other alignments. It's you become really grounded when you actually really, really know your values and you really do live by them. It's not something that, it's quite difficult to describe, really, isn't it? Because you only really understand this when you really do start to know yourself this deeply, and when you really follow through what you say, and your words and your actions are completely in sync with each other, because you have a respect for yourself. And I think a lot of the guys I coach have actually lost a little bit of respect for themselves because they're so confused, and they want to do the right thing, and they want to say the right thing, and they want to be nice, and they want to be sexual, and they want to, so they're not actually respecting their own values. So yeah,
I can see that, and I think a lot of guys might be thinking about becoming more controlling or performative in that sense, instead of being that grounded, confident male that the woman actually needs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But women don't want a man to pretend to be confident. We can see through it. They want a man who knows who he is, and even when she challenges him, and especially actually when she challenges him, and the same the other way around. I mean, it's not about controlling each other. It's always about mastering yourself first.
Yeah.
And once you master yourself, you can be really present and confident. Yeah.
Yeah, I think self-love, if you will, I think is a critical thing, because any other type of love actually will fall unless you love yourself first.
It's so true, isn't it? We have these, we say these things, but they mean a huge amount. How can anyone love you if you don't love yourself?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Very much. So, do you believe we're seeing a generational crisis in intimacy in general, particularly then with men being emotionally lost or even shut down at times?
Yes, I'm very, very sad to say I do. I mean, I think that's why I do what I do, because I feel there is a crisis, and I say this with a lot of love and compassion because I really, really think that men are carrying really big emotional burdens. They've never had space to really name these burdens. They've not even had time to understand how to heal them. They've been taught, from a very young age to be providers and protectors, achievers, but not feelers, not lovers, not soulful men who are allowed to be held and allowed to cry and allowed to rest. And it makes me feel emotional again because I have a son who is embarking on, his teenage years, and I'm looking at the men that I see of all age groups, from all different directions in life, and I see men who really want intimacy, but they're terrified of losing themselves in it. They want sex, but they're actually disconnected from their own bodies. We're living in a time really where men are very, very confused, and it's not easy. It's very, very difficult for them to work out what women really want.
So what advice would you give to men in general then who really want to reconnect with their sexual energy, not as performance as we talked about, but truly as presence?
Slow down. Slow down and start with your own body. Just I would say most men have learned, as we say, sex is a performance. But just slow it all down. Last much longer. Make her orgasm first, and that mindset can disconnect you from your own kind of erotic core. Because sexual energy is about feeling, about aliveness, breathing, connection. It just isn't about the end goal. It really is the journey. It really is being present. Just dropping a breath during intimacy and really, really feeling.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of want to tell men.
I love the way that you actually say slow down, because I think that's something I've been hearing from a lot of women in general, is that they really want guys to take it easier, slow down, and focus on them a lot more.
Absolutely. And I think that takes so much pressure off then. It's very highly pressured environment of man performing, trying to be the best he can be. When you sort of stop chasing a reaction and you actually start really kind of cultivating your own erotic presence, I think your entire sexual energy changes when you stop trying to do something that's this end goal, and you just remain right in the moment. And women feel it instantly. I have men who said when they have started to discover this, when they've actually understood what being present in that intimate moment means, women have actually said, "You are different.
Yeah.
I love your presence. I love the fact that you're so fully present with me." And I think that's probably one of the most beautiful compliments a woman can give a man.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
But so how do you feel about a man being authentic with a woman? I think that really is a word that for me sort of,
yeah,
the whole thing about being grounded and being present.
Yeah, it is. It's someone who's almost magnetic. It doesn't need someone else to complete him. He's fully himself. He's also another thing is to learn how to express all of his feelings, even his anger. Really cleanly, not violently, not in fear. To be able to find his own voice about what he feels and needs, and reconnecting with his sensuality, because after years there's a sort of numbness that a lot of men seem to feel, which is they just don't have a feeling of what sex is, and once they realise that actually it isn't just about the performance and it's about being fully alive, I think it's a really beautiful shift, where a man stops trying to be a version of the man that the world told him to be, and he actually becomes himself, in fully flawed, powerful, present, unapologetic. This is who I am. I'm doing the best I can do. I'm being the best version of myself, and that's true of men and women. You've got to be the best version of yourself, and that's how women will love you.
When you think about the men you've been coaching, what are some of the most beautiful shifts you've seen in men that you've been talking to? Is it really around being much more present and being?
It really isn't, and if this is just on the approaching women side, this is not in the bedroom. It's more actually just how women are communicating with when men and women are communicating together. And the minute a man, it's a lovely moment to watch where there is a light bulb moment. There's a mind shift of, I don't have to perform even in conversation. I don't have to start overthinking and thinking of the next thing to say, and I don't have to be funny and perform and show off about my wealth, and I don't have to do any of those things. I just have to listen with the intention of understanding. And when I understand what she's saying to me, when I feed back how I feel and I validate the things that I find attractive about her, and we spin off into a much more emotional question asking why she loves what she loves. I'm intrigued, I'm curious about her. When a man starts talking on that kind of level with a woman, conversation flows beautifully. There's no awkwardness. There's no, and this leads straight into sex. And actually, I had a conversation with a guy the other day. I was saying the first conversations you have with a woman is actually verbal foreplay. This is the beginning of the physical foreplay, because you'd want to put her first. You want to be intrigued by her. You want to make her feel safe and secure and listened to and heard and valued. And when a woman feels all of those things, she will start to melt and she will start to bring her walls down, and she'll start to enjoy you and she'll start to flirt with you. And you will feel when the moment is right to start becoming physical with her. But it starts with the conversation. And this is what's so beautiful. I do get to see men shift into that much more emotional, present conversation. And that's how this journey begins. So I would say to men, start by listening and talking to a woman in a way where you're trying to understand her and be curious about her rather than perform and show off to her.
That's really good advice.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so passionate about this. You know me. And I just think men and women are confused at the moment, and we all need help with this. I always think, we don't get taught this. It's something that we just have to really, really, really reach out and get help for, but also look very hard at ourselves and think, what actually are we presenting the world with? And do we love ourselves enough? And as we said at the beginning, if you don't love yourself, it's very difficult for someone else to love you.
Very true. So, Carrie, thank you for saying what many people think. And I also would say that very few dare to say out loud. I think you're speaking both for the pain and the potential in how men and women actually relate today.
Yeah.
And I would say that if there's one takeaway from this conversation, I would say it's confidence isn't about having all the answers, but it's about being real, about being present and curious. And as you said, asking questions and finding out about the potential partner you have. And I would also say then to dare to show up, even when it's actually uncomfortable, and not run away in that sense.
Absolutely.
So I would say to everyone listening, I would say, like, whether you're dating, healing, or if you're in a long-term relationship, is to ask more questions and be curious. And it's not about to win someone, but how to, as you said, Carrie, meet them and be meeting them for real, I would say, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you so much. It was
Thank you.
a pleasure having you here.
That was a pleasure.